everyone, welcome to the Techie Things with Priyanka. In this video, we are gonna get to know in detail about HTMX and its use cases. So let's get started. First of all, we should know what is HTMX. HTMX is a library that allows you to access modern browser features directly from HTML rather than using JavaScript. Or HTMX is a library that simplifies web development by shifting the responsibility of handling these tasks away from JavaScript and directly into the HTML. With HTMX, you can use HTML attributes to define and control various web interactions without writing extensive JavaScript code. What that means? Traditionally, web development heavily relies on JavaScript to create dynamic and interactive web applications. Developers use JavaScript to handle events, fetch data from servers, and manipulate the document object model, which is DOM, to update web pages. While JavaScript is a powerful and versatile language, it can make web development more complex, especially when handling common tasks like form submissions, real-time updates, or even basic interactivity. HTMX is a library that simplifies web development by shifting the responsibility of handling these tasks away from JavaScript and directly via HTML. That's a very simple example of HTMX. In the HTMX, you can see different tags like HX get, HX target, etc. etc. In this simple example, where you have a button on a web page and when the button is clicked, you want to load more content from the server and display it on the page. In a traditional JavaScript approach, you would need to write JavaScript code to handle the click event, make an AJAX request to the server, and update the page content when the response is received. But with HTMX, you can achieve the same result using HTML attribute without writing JavaScript. In this case, we have a button element with two special HTMX attributes. First one is HXGet. This attribute tells HTMX to make an HTTP GET request to the server when the button is clicked. The load more URL represents the endpoint that will provide additional content. HSTarget. This attribute specifies that the response from the server should be placed inside the element with the ID of content. We also have a div with an ID of content, initially containing the text initial content. When the user clicks the load more button, HTMX automatically sends the GET request to the server, load more endpoint, retrieves the response, and update the content of the div element with the ID content. Without requiring JavaScript code to manage these interactions, this allows you to access modern browser features, in this case making an AJAX request directly from HTML. It's making your code simpler and more accessible. Now let's get to know about the motivation behind HTMX. The first one is, why should only a and form tag be able to make HTTP request? Usually in JavaScript, we use form and a tag for making a request, but using HTMX, every single HTML element can do it. The second one, why should only click and submit events trigger them? Normally you have seen that if we are using JavaScript, we trigger events on click and on submit. But in HTMX, all other events such as mouse enter, mouse leave, etc. also can trigger event. Why should only get and post methods be available? Not just only get and post, it supports other methods too, such as put, patch, delete. In last example, you have seen the attribute called HXGet. But in the same way, you can also use HXPut, HXPatch, and HXDelete. Why should you only be able to replace the entire screen? Now, any element, not just the entire window, can be the target for update by the request. You have seen in this video that we have set the HXTarget. This HXTarget can contain ID of any HTML element, and that's not required that it should be in the same page. It can be anywhere and it would be able to update it based on the response we get from API. Now let's get to know about the popular use cases of HTMX. The first one is real-time notification and updates. For example, consider chat application where you want to show real-time notifications when someone sends you a message. With HTMX, you can update the chat window instantly as new message arrive without needing to refresh the whole page, and this creates a seamless chat experience. The second one is enhancing forms and data submission. For example, Imagine you are filling out a long online survey. With HTMX, you can validate each form field as you fill it out. showing instant feedback on whether the data is correct. This way you don't have to wait until you submit the entire form to find errors. Third one is progressive enhancement in web applications. For example, you are building an online shopping cart. You can use HTMX to provide basic functionality that works even with JavaScript disabled. This means customer can still add items to their cart and check out, ensuring your e-commerce site is accessible to a wider audience. Here are a few more. Building interactive components within a static website. For example, let's say you have a static blog website, but you want to add an interactive comment section. HTMX allows you to create a comment submission form that works smoothly without the need for a full page reload. Users can post comments and see them instantly, even on a static site. Supporting traditional server-rendered apps. For example, you have an existing server-rendered web app, but you want to add features like real-time notifications or dynamic content loading. With HTMX, you can enhance the specific parts of your app without rewriting the entire application. This saves development time and maintains compatibility with older systems. Now get to know about HTMX versus SPAs. I think you all must have known about the single page applications. We all have used React before. If you haven't used, but if you are using JavaScript, you have idea about the React. So in React, we can create single page applications. So now we are going to discuss what's the difference between HTMX and single page applications. When it comes to HTMX versus SPAs, then we should know that HTMX and SPAs are two distinct approaches to web development. While SPAs have gained popularity for their seamless user experiences, HTMX offers an alternative by enhancing traditional web applications. HTMX is an excellent choice for enhancing traditional web applications with modern features while keeping development efforts minimal. It's particularly valuable when SEOs is a priority or when a gradual transition to more interactive web feature is preferred. On the other hand, SPAs are a go-to solution for developing complex standalone applications with seamless user experience, making them suitable for modern web platforms and data-intensive projects. The choice between HTMX and SPAs ultimately depends on the specific requirement, needs, and goals of your web development project. Here are a few examples of using HTMX. You can simply see the attributes of HTMX in first example, which is hexput. I have explained it before that not only get and post, but you can also use put and delete and patch as well. In the second example, you are seeing hxget, hxtrigger, hxtarget. So that means hxget, this is how you are gonna call the get API. Trigger means when should your API be triggered, and the target where you want to show the result of this API. So the target is search results. So any HTML element which has ID of search results, the result will be shown there. In this example, we are using hxget attribute, hxindicator attribute. The same way, in the next example, we are using hxpost and hxtrigger, which I have already explained before. Now let's move forward. Now the point comes how to install HTMX. There are several ways to install HTMX on your computer. You can use it via CDN. So you just need to write it in your file, which is normally we write CDN in index.html file. So this is how you can use. The second one is you can download a copy. The very next easiest way to install HTMX is to simplify, copy it into your project, download htmx.min.js from their site unpackage.com and add it to the appropriate directory in your project and include it where necessary with the script tag. Third one is you can also download HTMX via npm. After installing, you will need to use appropriate tooling to use. For example, you might bundle HTMX with some extensions and project-specific code. Now, another option is using Webpack. If you are using Webpack to manage your JavaScript, install HTMX via your favorite package manager like npm or yar and then import it to your index.js file. And also you can create a custom file and import this particular file to your index.js file. This is the official site of HTMX. In this official site, you can read all the documentation about HTMX and all its tags. In the next video, I will be creating one application using HTMX. If you want to know more about bun in detail, please go check in the detailed video of it which I created. I will put the link in the description below. Thanks for watching my video. If video was helpful to you, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.